Today we're taking a look at the Rolex Explorer reference 124270, which is the rebirth of the beloved and iconic time-only watch in 36mm. Released in early 2021, the return back to the original 36mm sizing is an important and unprecedented move by Rolex, as all of their new releases in recent years have only gone up in size and in heft. The Explorer was originally released in 1953 to commemorate the summit to Mount Everest and has to have three essential qualities to the purists: highly legible 369 Arabic indices, waterproof oyster case, and a time-only automatic caliber. I spent the last weekend enjoying an unforgettable time at Lake Arrowhead, California, with Explorer on wrist. Let's spend the next few moments enjoying the beauty of Lake Arrowhead in the fall, as well as the fine details of the Rolex Explorer, the perfect adventure companion in all of its new old 36mm glory. Reference 124270 is a highly wearable 36mm, which is technically 34.9mm, measuring in at 43.1 lug to lug, with a lug width of 19mm and a 14.2mm taper, and has a 16mm clasp. The watch is 11.6mm thick and weighs in at 111 grams, sized to my 6.5-inch wrist. The indices are finished in 18 karat white gold, and the dial features a black lacquer finish versus the matte dial on the outgoing 39mm reference. The Explorer text has moved back to below Oyster Perpetual at the top of the dial. One of my favorite parts about this watch is the highly legible and long-lasting Rolex Chromolite blue lume with the 3, 6, and 9 indices loomed. Rolex has also finally caught up with the times and has applied internal AR coating to the scratch-resistant sapphire crystal. As is customary with all the newer Rolex models, you will find a coronet between Swiss and made under the 6 o'clock position. The Explorer has a polished flat bezel and is polished on its case and bracelet flanks and clasp internals. The rest of the watch is entirely brushed, from the 3-piece oyster bracelet down to the clasp, which features a 5mm easy link adjustment. Powering the watch is the in-house Rolex manufacturer caliber 3230, featuring the Chronergy escapement, allowing the watch to run for 70 hours while fully wound. This caliber also features a paramagnetic blue parachrome hairspring and Paraflex shock absorbers, so this watch can handle just about anything life throws at it. The watch is a superlative chronometer, which means that when the watch is tested fully cased up and in multiple positions and temperatures, it loses or gains only 2 seconds per day. The watch features a twin lock screw-down crown and is water resistant to 100 meters. As logic would dictate, an Explorer watch should be weightless on wrist and also be highly legible day or night. I think this watch checks all of those boxes. The new Explorer wears how the original 1016 and pre-39mm models would wear. Hardly noticeable. The way the watch wears should be very familiar to owners of the 14270 and 114270. I owned the 39mm reference 214270 Mark II, and despite having more wrist presence, I just always felt that it was slightly top heavy. There was also more negative space on the dial, so visually it was just not as dialed in, pun intended. It did take me a while for my eyes to adjust to the smaller size of this new model, but once my eyes fully calibrated, it just made me realize that this watch wasn't small at all. It's just that modern watches have grown to gargantuan proportions. The lugs have been brought down to 19 millimeters from the original 20 millimeter lug width, which reigned supreme on all the previous iterations. I feel that this move helps to balance the bracelet with a smaller case size, but it does make the piece appear and wear a little smaller, especially with the more dramatic taper of the bracelet. The high contrast between the indices and the glossy black dial make this watch extremely legible, and that iconic 3, 6, and 9, which is now lume filled, is just icing on the cake. The more I wear this watch, the more I love it. For daily use, I prefer it over my Submariner 41 and even my GMT Master 2 due to its wearing comfort and that pure and unadulterated old school charm. The Explorer is understated, versatile, and elegant. It fits with nearly every situation and attire without being ostentatious and noticeable, effortlessly going from sport to casual to dress. The Explorer has the charm and proportions of a vintage Rolex tool watch, while bringing its finishing and technology into the modern era. I think a lot of watch brands, including Rolex, have sort of lost their way in making watches larger, chunkier, and more blingy. This new Explorer also shows that you can balance mid-century vintage design and proportions without resorting to that cheesy faux vintage trend that's dominated the watch market in recent years. In closing, I think the Explorer Reference 124270 is an excellent watch and a perfect companion through all of life's adventures and ups and downs, and one that I will personally cherish for years to come. I believe that Rolex has finally perfected the formula for the Explorer, combining the latest advancements, materials, and fit and finish, and bringing back the timeless proportions and wearability that true purists of this watch will appreciate. I hope this video gives you a good look at what I believe is one of the best sports models in the entire modern Rolex lineup. What are your thoughts on the new Explorer? Do you believe the move back to classic proportions was a good one? What do you think of the new 19mm bracelet and more dramatic taper? How does this reference compare to previous Explorers? And what do you think is next for the Explorer and for Rolex? Please let me and the rest of the community know in the comments below. Also, please consider subscribing to the channel if you enjoy this video. Your support matters. I hope you have a great day and see you next time. Take care.